Hello everyone, welcome to the course on mental health and well-being. I'm Dr. Oinme Bang. I'm professionally a clinical psychologist working in IIT as a student counselor. Today we are going to cover module 9, fostering academic relationship, and this module will be covered in 5 lectures. Firstly, we'll start our first lecture on supervisor-student relationship. So as we are going to discuss about supervisor and student relationship, so we have to understand who is supervisor. When we talked about supervisor, and supervisor is a guide who will provide you guidance throughout your journey, and the student is the one who enroll himself or herself in school or colleges, and they will pursuing the academic journey throughout that phase. So they will be called as a student. And here we'll understand the role of mentors and supervisor in academic success. They will basically provide the academic guidance and support. They will facilitate research and career development throughout the journey, and they will help students to navigate their institutional structures. They will also encourage independent thinking and problem solving throughout their journey. Providing academic guidance and support, when we discuss about it, it's mostly like they will offer the mentorship on academic content, and they will clarify the methods, and they will look after the progressions. They will advise on the course selection, how and which course a student has to pick up. They will guide on that, and they will also help in research design and the methodology if they are pursuing their PhD or they are doing research in their master. And if they are UG student, then they will guide them throughout their academic journey in clarifying the questions whichever arises into students' mind. They just have to ask for it, and they will get the answer from their guide. Monitoring students' progress and providing constructive feedback. When we talked about monitoring students' progress and providing the constructive feedback, it's mostly like when students come up with some topic and they have to work on that. After that, the guidance also matters a lot, where you will get the guidance from your supervisor, you will get the guidance from your other friends who is like pursuing the same course, and there the feedback plays an important role. Without feedback, you might not be able to go further, and you will not know whether your work is going, whether it's progressing or not, basically. And they will also offer the emotional and motivational support during this whole challenging phase. If we talk about the examples, then the guiding students through thesis writing or progress timeline will be the one of the example, and reviewing draft and helping refine argument or hypothesis, that will be done by the provided guide to the students. Facilitating research and career development. It's like mostly they will support students in their professional growth and research skills by helping them throughout the journey and helping students identify research interests and refine research questions. When we talked about this whole phase, it's basically like a student will come up with a topic which they will discuss with their supervisor, and on that they will discuss about it. There will be like what are the interests from the student side, and the guide will also help them to choose that topic and how they can make a objective out of that, and how they can form a hypothesis throughout that. And the main thing is like what objective they are putting on their topic, and what are the research which they want to find out. So on that phase, the supervisor will always help the student to find out what will be the best topic for them according to their interest. And they will encourage the publication, presentation, and the network opportunity by publishing papers in like journals, and by attending conferences, workshops, and all related to their topic, whichever the student has chosen, which will be a progressive method for them to grow in their academic area. And the supervisor will also advice on career pathway in academic industry or the other fields. There are some examples where connecting students with funding or research grants. When you have a good connection with your supervisor and you're working hard on something, then most probably the student will get also funding and a research grant from their college or the project which has been introduced in their college that way. And helping building a CV or prepared an interview job application, there also they can take the help from their guide and from their other colleagues also. Helping students navigating institutional structure, here assisting students in understanding and working within academic systems count. Explaining policies, procedures, deadlines and administrative process also been added on that, and supporting students in interactions with department committees or offices. There are some examples given which tells the guiding a student throughout ethics approval or academic appeals, helping them register for course or submit documentation correctly. Encouraging independent thinking and problem solving. Here, the guide will always do the fostering intellectual autonomy and critical reasoning with the student, where a student will get time to think about it. It's not like the supervisor is helping them to find out the solution. It's mostly they are guiding them and they are discussing with the student, so that with their own critical thinking they will come up with some of the solutions and they can apply on their research, which will be a great help for them. So throughout the journey, supervisor will be there. If the student is making connection with the supervisor and they have been setting the clear boundary and clear communication with their guide. Encouraging a student to generate their own ideas and solution. As I stated before, like here the guide will always encourage the students to generate their own ideas, which is basically the critical thinking, and promoting analytical thinking and scholarly curiosity also. If the student has the curiosity to understand more about that particular topic, then most probably they will work hard for it to get the answer. And there are some examples like challenging students to question assumptions or defend their own views, and creating opportunities for self-directed learning and research. Building effective communication and trust. Here, when we talked about the building communication and trust, it's very much necessary that when you enter into an academic area, then one has to be precise about their goal, what they really want in their life, and if they are choosing some topic, from that topic what exactly they want to get or what they exactly want to work on it. And here it's also necessary that if you are building a relationship with your supervisor, then the clarity has to be there in your communication too. It's a vice versa thing, not only from the student side but from the supervisor side also. In the very initial stage of the time, we have to make the very clear communication and what are the understanding of the topic and boundaries where they have to remember they are in a professional setup and they have to maintain the rules and regulation of that institution too. And while discussing, it's also necessary that we have to be very concerned about the things where we have to listen very careful. When we talked about the active listening, it doesn't have to just hearing part. People can hear, but if it's not beneficial for anyone, then it will not go anywhere. So active listening is also one of the basic part on the communication, and the trust is also necessary. If you doesn't trust your supervisor on their guidance, then there you will not be able to express it fully. So trust is also necessary, so that you will be able to ask the questions whatever comes in your mind, and you will get the ideas from the other party. That's why in communication, active listening is also very much important, and rapport building in the very initial stages, it's important. And setting regular meetings and feedbacks are also necessary during this process, as by setting the regular meetings, we'll understand how the work is progressing, and when you get the feedback, you understand where exactly you have to work. So when you are in your academic journey, always remember to communicate with your supervisor and build that relationship with your supervisor. Coming into the stabilizing open and transparent dialogue, it's like creating a safe, respectful space for open expression, ideas and concerns, sharing information clearly and concisely, being approachable and comprehensive and very responsive, promoting mutual trust and respect. There are some strategies. Being with a discussion on communication preferences, it can be through mail or in person or by messages also, and some of like encouraging questions and clarifying institutional process will also work. As we already have talked about the active listening and understanding students' concerns, it also added on to that, fully engaging with what the student is communicating both verbally and non-verbally, and avoid interrupting and listen empathetically. Validate students' feelings and experiences are one of the key aspects where we have to be mindful about it. Paying attention to emotional cues and body language is also one of the method, and there will be benefits like build rapport and a strong working relationship, helps in identifying issues early and providing timely support. Setting up regular meetings and feedback. We already have talked about it, but here I'll add some of the points when we talked about the regular meetings and feedback, how it will work as student or the guide. Creating a structure, opportunities and a discussion will progress the review. Schedule consistent meeting, for example, weekly, bi-weekly or maybe after every fortnight. That will be helpful for the student and for the guide to build that relationship and to understand whether the work is going on progress or whether it is stuck somewhere where they have to work together. And provide timely, specific and constructive feedback is one of the important key aspects here. And document discussions for accountability and clarity. There are some of the tips which a student and guide can follow by using meeting agendas and summaries, balance positive reinforcements, areas for improvement. Encouraging honest discussion about the expectation. When we talked about the clear communication, one has to be assertive enough to tell the things in a very clear manner by keeping the respect for the other parties also. And here some of the outlines I'll talk about. First, the mutual responsibilities is also very much important in academic area, and the realistic expectation from the student and also from the supervisor. And discuss timely authorship, workload and the abilities where they are available for the discussion or whether they are available for to give the feedback, and alignment expectation early to prevent misunderstanding. Revisit and revise expectations as needed. And there will be benefits like it will reduce the conflict and stress both in student and supervisor. It will also enhance their goal and clarity, and the performance will progress accordingly. Conflict management in academic mentorship. By seeking mediation when necessary will definitely help in academic mentorship. Addressing concerns early and professionally. Don't wait for the last moment to get the clarification. It's always good if you come up with the concern early and you discuss it with your professor, so that you don't have to stuck in the last moment. Identifying sources of conflict. It can be the expectation from the supervisor, it can be the expected from the students. So identify conflict beforehand is also good, so that you understand like what are the realistic goal and how you can achieve it, instead of you putting the expectation and increasing the workload. And here when we talked about assertiveness, assertiveness will bring a clear communication between the both, and it will good for both of them so that they will not fall into the miscommunication. Identifying sources of conflict. Recognizing the root cause of misunderstanding or disputes. Misaligned expectation. It can be like related to timeline, their availabilities and roles, and unequal workloaded distributions and poor unclear communication. Important points to avoid that are early identification to prevent the escalation, and encouraging open dialogue and mutual problem solving techniques. Addressing concerns early and professionally. There we can handle the issues proactively and by using our emotional intelligence, by using a respectful and a neutral tone while communicating with each other. Focus on behaviors and outcomes, not the personal traits. Document agreements and concerns if needed. Benefit will be, it will maintain the trust and in the working relationship. It will also prevent minor issues from becoming long-term barriers. Seeking mediation when necessary. Seeking mediation is one of the important key where we both have to work. When I say we, it's basically the student and the supervisor has to work with it. Involving a neutral third party to resolve serious or persistent conflict. For example, if there is the conflict where the both parties are not able to resolve it, then it's also important that you bring the third party who will be unbiased about taking the decision for that particular conflict and when to use it. Breaking down of communication and making it clear will be the best thing to do, and allegations of unfair treatment or neglect. And when informal resolutions fails, then you can always add on the third party so that they can come up with the different solution. Mediators may include department heads, academic advisor or institutional ombudsperson, and the goal is to achieve mutual understanding and re-establish a working relationship. Fostering a culture of respect and collaboration, creating an environment where all voices are valued and collaboration is encouraged. That's the culture of respect and collaboration. Recognizing achievement and efforts from both sides, and promote equality, empathy and mutual accountability for their work and for the time and effort they have put on that particular work. By setting a positive tone in all interaction instead of one party getting angry or aggressive on the discussion, it's always good if we can put a positive tone in all the interactions whatever we are doing. And the outcome will be, it will enhance productivity and student satisfaction. It will also build a foundation for long-term professional development. Setting clear expectations and goals. Defining research objective and timelines. Clarifying roles and responsibilities. Aligning expectations with clear aspiration. Adopting goals based on progress and feedback. Defining research objectives and timeline. Setting clear, achievable research goals with realistic and time frames. Identify the main research questions and expected outcomes. By establish short-term and long-term milestone, for example, the proposal, data collection, and how to proceed with the writing part, that will be a really helpful thing for the student and for the guide. By creating a flexible and structured timing will definitely one of the good way to go on while doing the research and clarifying the things on time. The benefits which both parties will get, it will promote direction, focus and accountability, and it will reduce last minute stress and delays. Clarifying roles and responsibilities. Here we have to understand like how it can be benefit for both the parties. It will ensure both supervisor and students understanding their respective duties, like who will handle the data collection, ethical approval, how to proceed with that, how to go with the literature reviews, and supervisor's responsibility for feedback, support and their availability, and students' responsibility for Initiation, the time management and the reporting progress. The outcome will be, it will prevent confusion and foster ownership of tasks. Aligning expectation with career aspiration. Tailoring the research experience to support long-term professional goal, and there are some of these strategies where discuss students' intended career paths. Example, academia, industry or the clinical practice, identifying skills and experiences needed for those parts. For example, the publication, teaching, internship by attending the workshop and conferences which has been held related to their topic. And the benefits will be, there will be like increased motivation and engagement and adds relevant and personal meaning to the research process. Adopting goals based on progress and feedback. Here, making adjustment to goals as the project evolves. And why it matters? Research is a dynamic plan, often need revision due to new findings or challenges. Students' growth may reveal new strength or interest. And the best practices will be conduct periodic reviews to assess alignment with goals, by use feedback sessions or refine objective and update timelines. The importance of feedback and constructive criticism. Providing timely and specific feedback will definitely helpful for the students so that they can understand where exactly they have to work on the timeline. Balancing positive reinforcement with constructive criticism. When we talked about balancing positive reinforcement, it's like by not neglecting the student or the supervisor, instead giving them feedback where they can actually work on will be beneficial for the student. By encouraging self-reflection and growth, that means that by doing the weekly meeting, or maybe if it's feasible for their supervisor, then they can do the daily meeting maybe for an hour or like that. That way they will be able to reflect on their progress and growth of their academic journey, and they will understand where exactly and how they can add on to more so that it will be beneficial for their work. And by creating a safe space and dialogue, that means that if the person feels safe on this space, then they will be able to communicate it more clearly, and they will be able to put their questions over there without doubting themselves or without doubting that they will get a scolding from their supervisor. So, it's also very much that to provide the students a safe space for their dialogue despite of their power dynamic. Providing timely and specific feedback is one of the key aspects, where offering focus inputs and by giving them the clear message where they exactly have to work will be beneficial for both the parties. And the best practice will be give feedback while the material is still fresh in students' mind, instead of we taking the time for a longer, and that ideas will merge into something and they might not be able to express it later on. And be precise and highlight what works well and what needs the improvement. And why it matters? When we ask, it will reinforces learning and it will accelerate the development, and it will also prevent recurring mistakes and confusion when the feedback has been given and when the matter has been clarified by the supervisor. Balancing positive reinforcement with constructive criticism by acknowledging the strength while addressing areas for improvement. Use the feedback sandwich positive, constructive, positive when appropriate, and be honest but supportive and avoid harsh and vague criticism. Goal is to build confidence while promoting skill enhancement, not to demean the other parties. Encouraging self-reflection and growth, helping students analyze their work and identity ways to improve, and strategies by asking the reflective questions. For example, what part do you think was stronger or the strongest? by inviting students to assess their own progress before giving your feedback. And the benefits will be, it will promote independent learning and accountability. It will also develop the critical thinking and self-awareness in students. Creating a safe space for dialogue by ensuring students feel comfortable receiving and responding to the feedback. How to create it? Be respectful and empathetic in tone, welcome questions, concerns or clarifications. Emphasize that feedbacks is a part, the learning progress, not a judgment. An outcome will be, it will foster trust and encourages open academic communication. Navigating power dynamics in the supervisor-student relationship by recognizing inherent power imbalances, promoting mutual respect and professionalism by encouraging students' autonomy and decision making. Handling conflict with fairness and transparency will definitely help. Recognizing inherent power imbalances, when we talked about here, we have to acknowledge the supervisor's positions of authority over academic outcome, and the implications can be students may feel hesitant to express concerns or dissent. There can be power dynamics can impact feedback or authorship or workload negotiation, and ethical consideration can be used power responsibility to guide, not to control students' decision. Be mindful of how request tones may influence students' autonomy. Promoting mutual respect and professionalism by maintaining a relationship rooted in courtesy, fairness and academic integrity, and the best practices will be respect students' time, identity and contribution. Uphold clear professional boundaries, for example, avoid favoritism or inappropriate familiarity, and result will be, there will be a respectful environment which will enhance the productivity and psychological safety both for the student and the supervisor. Encouraging students' autonomy and decision making. This will bring a supporting thing for the student, where the student will be able to work independently and with professionally. And how to encourage the students on this journey? Let students take the lead in setting some goals and making research decision by their own, by supporting them in developing their own voice and identity in their field of interest. And the long term value will be, it will prepare student for career where self direction is critical, and it will also increase motivation and confidence in student, and while learning in their academic journey, and also the ownership of the learning will be learned by the student. Handling conflict with fairness and transparency. By managing dispute or misunderstanding in an impartial, open manner, an approach can be listen to all parties without biases, document decision and discussions where needed, follow institutional guidelines and conflict resolution, and the ethical duty will be protect the integrity of the relationship and the student's right to. Promoting professional development throughout mentorship. Here we will cover the 4 topics. One will be the providing career guidance and networking opportunities, encouraging conferences, participants and the publishing, and also supporting skill development, writing, presentation and leadership, and the last one will be the preparing students for academic and non-academic career. Coming into providing career guidance and networking opportunities, here assisting students in making informal career decisions and building professional relationship, and the strategies can be discuss career paths early in the academic journey. Connect students with professionals, alumni and collaborators, and the benefit will be, it will expand students' understanding of available opportunities. It will also opens door to internships, jobs and collaboration. encouraging conference participation and publishing by supporting students in sharing their work and engaging with the academic community. And why it matters? It matters because it will build confidence and communication skills and visibility in the field. It will enhance their CVs for academic or industry career or the other career paths whichever the student will choose according to their interest. The role of the supervisor, when we talked about, it suggests relevant conferences or journals, help with abstracts, presentations and the manuscripts. Supporting skill development, writing, presentation and leadership. It will help a student gain transferable skills needed and for their diverse career opportunities. Some of the examples: writing research papers, grant proposal, technical reports, presentation, conferences, thesis defense, public speaking, leadership, mentoring juniors, managing project, team collaboration and the approach. It will provide opportunities and feedback on these skills throughout the research journey. Preparing students for academic and non-academic career. Guiding students towards both traditional academic and alternative career tracks. Supervisor's role will be acknowledging the diverse aspiration, for example, the government, private sectors and the entrepreneurship. Assist in identifying relevant opportunities, fellowships and skill sets. The outcome will be it will empower a student to transition confidently into their next professional phase. Thank you.